channel for the wide nation of sports by Hunter Tickle. Hit that subscribe button. What's happening, ladies and gents? This is Hunter Tickle. I'm your host. This is episode 21 of Wide Nation of Sports. We got a great show on tap here for you today. We're going to start with laying out how it's going to go. We have some college basketball standing state of college basketball in the Atlantic 10 as well as the Missouri Valley Conference. Looking at kind of some big picture stuff there. And we also have an interview one-on-one with Uebelhor, who's a pitcher, college baseball pitcher. They have their season coming up here in a couple of weeks, just nearly 2 weeks. And then we also have a update on the U.S. men's national team for soccer. They got a big camp coming up, their first one with the new boss. And then we also have some updates on kind of what to look for from the NFL this upcoming week. Some of my picks for who's going to make it to the Super Bowl that I've yet to share, and I'm not changing. I'm sharing it now. This is my number one, my only pick that I've made, and I'm not going to change it, and I'm sticking to it. All right, y'all, let's go. So first, college basketball, and keeping my eye on a lot of the Missouri Valley. Sorry, I scratched that. A lot of the Atlantic 10. Wanted to kind of see how they stacked up this year. Take a good look at that mid-major conference. And then also I've been looking at the Missouri Valley a little bit, keeping an eye on Indiana State to see kind of their progress in their rebuild. We're going to start with St. Louis. They have a net now of 115. They are 3-0 in the Atlantic 10. They are the only unbeaten team in the Atlantic 10. Last week they got a big win over St. Bonaventure at home. It was a close win. They are now St. Bonnie has now a net of 70, so that was clearly the best win to date in the Josh Schertz era there. And Salou, they got the win 73-68 on Wednesday. I caught some of that game on Peacock, and big win for them. Big time that they're still first place there in the Atlantic 10, and like I said, the only unblemished squad there. It's interesting. They didn't get off to the strongest start in the non-conference, but here in conference they've gotten off to a great start. Still a lot to play for, though. A lot of kind of heavy sledding happening for them for the rest of their conference season. They are only 3 games into it. That all starts tonight at VCU. Virginia Commonwealth is 63. Their net is 63. That game is at 6 Eastern today. I will be tuning in from Terre Haute to watch that game in Richmond, Virginia. Again, they will play. Salou will host VCU later on in the season as well. And then they have Dayton twice, home and away. All games that you figure will be really a big part of kind of the race there in the Atlantic 10. Coming into the season, I believe the preseason was Dayton 1, VCU, and then Salou. And they're looking like great teams that are going to contend. And you also have St. Bonaventure in there as well. They've had a pretty good start. Speaking of Dayton, they have the highest net. They have the lowest net. They have a 62. They had a great non-conference, some really big time wins over some really quality programs. They beat UConn. They beat UNLV. They beat Marquette, probably the best of those wins. And they also lost by 2 points to North Carolina and Maui, and they lost by 5 to Iowa State. Iowa State might be a 1 seed come March. That was a really gauntlet that they played so far from the Dayton Flyers. But they did hit a slump. I was able to catch their game against UNLV on TV. That was December 17th. They got a 1-point win. Malachi Smith had a game-winning and one late. But since that game, which was another big win for them, they fell to Cincinnati. They beat LaSalle. They lost to George Washington, and they lost at Massachusetts. So they've already lost 2 Atlantic 10 games. And they've dropped 3 of their past 4. They're looking to rebound, starting with tomorrow's date at home at UD Arena against George Mason, and we'll see what kind of mettle Dayton has coming down the stretch after not the greatest of starts in the Atlantic 10, and they have their work cut out with them with pretty strong schedule as well, with VCU still to come twice, and then they'll also travel to the Bonnies as well for another game. And like I said earlier, they still have St. Louis twice. So go ahead and tune in from Richmond from Terre Haute. Uh, I said go ahead and tune into the game there in Richmond, Virginia. So yeah, we got 6 of the top 100 in the net from the Atlantic 10. Overall, big picture, I think they have a decent amount of teams there in the top 100. Decent depth there at the top. But I do think that for the most part, I mean, Dayton got off to a great start, but they haven't been as top heavy with their Dayton being the highest ranked net with 62. I don't think that bodes well for them. The conference moving forward, for getting multiple bids into the big dance this year. I do think Dayton has the clear best resume so far, and we'll see kind of how it folds down the stretch. But not sure that they have a lot of wiggle room moving forward. They lost by 20 at George Washington, and they lost at Massachusetts. So I don't know if they get a lot of wiggle room if they want to get in as an at-large. I think Joey Brackett's had them in his latest bracket as a 11 seed. So really kind of already a bubble team, despite having some quality non-conference wins and a really strong strength of schedule. In contrast, the Missouri Valley, I did this in the preseason. I kind of looked at kind of the strength of the two conferences when I talked to Josh Schertz, and he definitely stated that he thinks they're kind of aligned in kind of those two conferences. There's not much of a discrepancy. I beg to differ. I do think Atlantic 10 historically has had better quality, even when the Missouri Valley had the likes of Creighton, Wichita State in there, and Loyola. But I do think also in recent years I would give the nod to the A10. Right now, the Missouri Valley has 3 teams in the top 100. Drake is the flag bearer at 67. Bradley's at 83. And then Northern Iowa's at 91. So really right in the thick of those six Atlantic 10 teams as those 3 Missouri Valley squads. So, a smaller gap than I expected. We'll see how that pans out down the stretch, and what kind of effort Drake can give to kind of get an at-large bid if they don't win Arch Madness. And now we got a one-on-one interview. All right, guys, welcome into another episode of Wide Nation of Sports. We got a great guest here today. He's one of my longtime high school players that I covered back at Southridge in Southwest Indiana. He's doing it big now. He's at Oakland City, slinging the ball from the mound. He's also playing. He's played summer ball for the Du Bois County Bombers in the Prospect League, and he deserves a proper introduction because he's killing it right now. He had a 2.05 ERA last year with the Mighty Oaks in college play. His first year playing college ball, he went 4-1. He had 14 appearances, 7 starts. And he had 61 strikeouts and just 44 innings pitched. And then in his first summer with the Bombers, he was able to go 2-0, did 48 and 2/3 innings, and he led the team with 38 strikeouts, and he also had a 2.96 ERA in the Prospect League. Mick Uebelhor, ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing today, Mick?
Yes, sir. I'm doing good, Hunter. I appreciate that. You didn't have to do all that for me, but I really appreciate it. Thanks for asking me to come on, and I'm excited. Good seeing
Only
you.
for the best ballers, man. So we had to get that in there. All right, so Mick, it's great to catch up with you. It's been a while.
Yep.
I wanted to hear from you, just kind of jumping into it, like when you were, whether it was college ball or doing the Prospect League with Du Bois County Bombers, was there kind of a moment for you, kind of like a welcome to, the next level moment where you kind of realized how much of a jump the action was going to be for you?
Yeah, I mean, right. I think for me, really much right when I got on campus here at college, because you can just see the physicality of it, people at this level, and then you see what the expectation is here too, like the amount of work that these guys are putting in. This is why they're here at school, right? So it kind of goes for a jump for it being a hobby for a lot of people, and baseball is just what they do to have fun. To this is almost a job. So that was a big, kind of a big jump and something I realized early. And then from competition wise, or something that really caught my eyes we're at practice. So our field was getting worked on last year, and so we had to practice at the local high school field all during the fall. It got done by the spring, but in the fall we were there, and it's a shorter field. And I remember one of my first outings, I just gave up an absolute bomb. And there's a shed out in left field, clanks off the shed, and I was like, wow, well, now we're here. So, but learned from that and been going well ever since, and it's been a fun journey.
Mick, what can you tell me about your growth as a pitcher? Maybe even, we last talked, it was your junior year, but anything your senior year at Southridge or even, your first year with college ball, anything that's kind of like maybe clicking more for you or anything about your game that you feel like is kind of, taking off?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in high school, I was playing three sports, so busy all the time with those practices. Senior year, I got to a point where I was getting a little bit more physical, a little stronger, filling out my body a little bit. So that definitely helped me in case of mile per hour there. And I took a jump from my junior to senior year with all that. And then when I got to college here, I get to just focus on baseball. I get to give all my effort into lifting, nutrition, practice, and all that. So been doing having a kind of a routine every winter. I have been for a while with a guy by home. Southridge principal is actually Greg Gogol. He's helped me tremendously. I give him a bunch of credit for where I'm at right now. But he really gave me the right program to follow, to follow this program. So when I got to gain some weight here in college, get put some more muscle, I really saw my miles per hour jump and then also just my overall game jump because I was able to really dial in on the little details that comes with pitching, whether that's pitch sequencing, or that's just being smarter about the game, knowing like how to pitch certain hitters and all that, just studying film, studying experience really. So my game's definitely gotten a lot better since high school, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here in the future and keep developing. But I've definitely grown in a lot of different areas of baseball and pitching in general.
And you mentioned that workout with the principal at Southridge. Any particular workout that's kind of the magic sauce that you feel like you can share with some people about, getting better as a pitcher?
Well, it's very personalized, but I mean, just you got to get your legs stronger. So we did a lot of front squats in the weight room, but then also a lot of heavy ball series, plyo balls, different weight training with that, and then you also got to be explosive if you're going to be a pitcher. So we do a lot of plyometrics, jumps, all that stuff. So if anyone's out there that needs a program, I can send you some stuff here. But reach out to me, and I completely don't mind it at all. But yeah, just a lot of different stuff. Just trying to research on my own, watching YouTube videos of guys that do it at the high level, but then also following what I've been told and what people ahead of me that have more experience and a lot of knowledge in that field know. So it's been good.
And guys, like I said, we got Mick Uebelhor here today. He's a sophomore starting right-handed pitcher for Oakland City in the
Yeah.
Dubois County Bombers. Um, Mick, can you tell me, you know, through this whole process of kind of going through this, like, has it been anything that's kind of been surprising from going in from the high school ranks to the college ranks?
I think what's been most surprising would be how much how much the details matter, how much one mistake can matter. Because in high school, you can get away, like you can throw a pitch, you can do something and think it's the right thing, but it's actually a mistake, but it doesn't get flawed, doesn't get known because their competition isn't that good. So something that's been surprising, if you make one little mistake here or there, then it's going to expose you. So that's been surprising for sure. And that'd probably be the biggest thing for me that I've learned.
Let's say you're starting in a game. I'm gonna go through a scenario, or maybe you're coming
Yep.
on as a reliever, and you need
Yep.
one strike. You need one strike. The strike wins it. You guys are up a run. You got a guy on second, and you got a batter up. Any one pitch that you like to go to, or have a go-to for?
I'd say if there's a righty in the box, depends kind of what situation I'm going into, but righty in the box, I'm either going to go slider down and away or try to jam them inside, up and in on a fastball. If it's a lefty, I like to throw in my changeup. My changeup's developed a lot, and I can throw that kind of away, make it look like the fastball, or elevate the fastball a little bit, get it right at his letters. Hopefully, he swings under it. So that'd be what I go to.
Okay. Is this the intel you had when you were in high school or nah?
Not really, because well, I did. I've had a lot of coaches. I've always felt like I've been a pretty smart baseball player, smart pitcher. I've always liked to watch the game. I like to study the game, so I knew kind of a lot, but my stuff didn't necessarily play to make it effective. So now that I'm in a position that I can play, I can really hone in on the ins and outs of the game and thinking the smarts and trying to outsmart the other batters. So that's definitely something that's helped me.
And then, guys, we had breaking news in the last 24 hours. Mick Uebelhor was officially selected to play with the Bombers again this summer, second straight summer in the Prospect League.
No.
He was officially the first one on record to be joining the squad. My quick follow up for that, Mick, was all right, so what happens if you go here to Oakland City and just tear it up? Is there a possibility that you go to like, for instance, the Cape Cod League for the summer, or like, how does that exactly work? Since it's so early and the summer's really far away.
Right now, even if I have a great summer, I'll probably still go to the Bombers again because it's kind of for NAI school, it's hard or to have the connections to the Cape Cod type of league. But
Mhm.
if I go the first half of the summer and do really well, then I can talk to my coaches or my future coaches and the Bombers coaches and see what would give me the best chance. And then they all have connections to a higher league. So if anything would happen, it'd be after the first half of the summer. But right now, I'm excited to be back with the Bombers. I mean, dream come true. I've been blessed so many ways by God to be able to put me in a position to do that. So I'm just excited right now for the opportunity in front of me and ready to get back to
Right.
work down with my hometown Bombers.
Making you mean the first half of the season for college, NAIA, right?
First half of the summer, like at the June breaking point in June.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
with the Bombers. I gotcha.
yeah.
Yep.
So we can meet at
What
that
can
first.
you tell me though about Oakland City? So, we touched on this a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
off camera, but what would it be like if you kind of shoot off and take off here with the Mighty Oaks? What might kind of open up, or what are you looking for to do here in your sophomore season?
Yeah, sophomore season, what I'm looking forward to here, I think I put myself in a position to be one of the main guys, if not the main guys, innings wise here. So I'm excited for that because I can really figure out a lot about myself. So if I just do well, keep doing my thing, I guess, and keep attacking and dominating like I have been, then that could open doors here in the future. See what's out there with the transfer portal and everything. But I'm not trying to look too far ahead because I really like the guys here, and I'm just trying to enjoy it and control what I can control because there's already a plan out there, and I know whatever lies ahead of me is just one step away. So gotta
And then
keep.
League Stadium, if for those that don't know, the Bombers as well as the Southridge Raiders play out of League Stadium, which was famously known for being in a league of their own
Yep.
with Tom Hanks. And it's a great ballpark if anyone ever makes it down to Southern Indiana. It's a great spot to see and truly a staple in the sport and truly like a really fun experience. Mick, I wanted to ask you, considering, your parents were former co-owners, right? So you grew up right
Yeah.
around that stadium and then you got to play there in high school and then now you're playing there summers with the Bombers, which I know you've talked about was really a dream come true. But what was that like last summer to just kind of dip your foot in and go? And what was it kind of surreal for you?
Yeah, it was so surreal. I mean, I remember going. I can't even remember when I started going there. We started hosting. My family did hosting Bomber players in 2005. Been going every summer since. Like, grew up on that field, spend hours there each day. And then high school is awesome, especially the my senior year. We played Jasper in sectional championship, and it was packed stadium. That was one of the greatest games of my life, just as an experience and excitement standpoint. But then this summer, I just had to take it all in. I was like, you get out there and you have everyone rooting for you. The place that you call home, place that feels like home, and no really nerves, just excitement and blessed to be able to do that. And man, it was a lot of fun.
And then, yeah, you guys, Mick Uebelhor, like I said, on here today with Wide Nation of Sports. He's a pitcher, starting right-handed pitcher, sophomore pitcher for the Mighty Oaks there in Oakland City in Indiana. Mick, I know a lot of people watching this might not be familiar with your game or maybe even be familiar with your character.
Yeah,
I will say, this guy's probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Not just an athlete, but just one of the
appreciate
nice, genuine, nice guys here in Southern Indiana. So, Mick, I wanted to ask,
it.
how much has you being kind of a glue guy or being someone that like maybe, lets others be the louder one, and you're kind of one that does it by, example, how much has that helped you with these two squads the past year?
Yeah, it's been great. I'm one of those guys. I'll say what needs to be said when it needs to be said, but I'm not gonna go on my way. Really, I'm not too outgoing person. I like to kind of keep to myself and lead by example, like you said. But with that and with the Bombers, I was kind of coming into something new because you go from being high school, you're the guy that everyone counts on to be the leader, to step up in every situation, to keep guys accountable. And then you come to college and you're just a little man again. Like you don't really know too much. Like when you come here, you don't really know everyone. So I was lucky enough to come here with a couple of my buddies, and I know a couple of people that were here before. But then as the season went on, I started just building relationships with these guys, and I feel like I gained their trust with just the work that I've put in and the how I act around them, and they gained my trust. So then I earned their respect, and when it comes to the game, so that they have all faith in me, which is huge. And then same thing for the Bombers. I had to earn their respect again, all the guys that were in that building. So doing that, just staying true to my values has really helped me kind of fit in with everybody, I guess, and be someone that people count on. And I'm grateful for that for sure.
And Mick, I got two questions. So the first
Yep.
question, you said you picked up some bulk. So how tall are you now, and like how much you weigh?
Yep. 6'3" still, but I've 210, around 210,
210.
which
Okay.
when I
Yeah.
graduated high school, I was about 185. So
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
jump there.
You're a string bean, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what can you tell me about maybe a pitcher that you like to watch that maybe has that same build or maybe has your same style that you like to kind of take notes from and kind of model after?
I love watching Nathan Eovaldi. He's an older style pitcher, I'd say, very competitive. That's what I love about him. I'm a competitor. He's a competitor. We throw some similar pitches, a little bit similar mechanics. He goes over the head with it. I don't, but I love watching him. I watched him a lot with the Red Sox, and now he's with the Rangers, and he always is accountable in the big games when it comes to playoffs. So I watch a lot of stuff of his, and I just enjoy how he attacks the game and how he goes about his business. So that'd be a guy that I definitely look at and look up to on a pro level at least.
Got it. Well, thanks again, Mick. It's been a pleasure to talk. The Oakland City Oaks have their first game on January 31st. That's 2 weeks
Sure.
from Thursday to start the season. And then Mick will be slinging the ball from the mound, from the dirt, again at League Stadium once again this summer with the Dubois County Bombers. Hey, it's great to have you on, Mick.
Hey, I appreciate it, Hunter. A lot of respect for you, and we've built a good relationship. So thanks for having me, buddy.
And then, folks, a little USMNT update. It is now July 14th when this is being taped. We are a week past when the camp gathered for the January camp, the annual camp. And this is the first one under U.S. men's national team coach Mauricio Pochettino. He's got some of his main guys in there. Some of the guys from Europe are not in this camp, but he was able to bring in a really strong crew, and I'm really excited to see kind of how things get rolling under this new era, this new regime. I think the biggest pieces that I'm looking for Mauricio to kind of change is kind of the culture of people not really getting down and doing the dirty work all the time, in terms of just getting down for tackles, getting their jerseys dirty, being guys that are going to go the long run, go the long way, make the long run, track back and recover 30 yards to make a tackle and get stuck in. Just ultimately guys that are going to just put everything on the line, throw their body in front of shots, everything, just to kind of give them all but the kitchen sink, which is what the Yanks have become known to do here in the stateside. And they're in Fort Lauderdale for the first camp. I do think there's kind of definitely a change in the guard, and we'll see kind of what kind of progress they make. They are going to have their first game after this camp on January 18th against Venezuela, and that'll be in Fort Lauderdale. And then they'll also have a game later on against Costa Rica 4 days later. in Orlando City, where Orlando City plays. So it'll be interesting. I think the biggest question marks I'm looking for in this camp is, do we have a true shot stopper, a goalkeeper who's going to take the number one spot? Matt Turner's had it for a while. He hasn't had a ton of minutes there in Europe. Patrick Schulte has done well in some of these games. He's already played for Mauricio in a friendly. And then, what can we see out of, are we going to see a resurrection of Zach Steffen's career? He's at 29 caps. It's kind of crazy to think that he has 29 games that he's played. And he seemed kind of lost in the sauce, kind of was done with the national team. And then, we'll see if we can get some more depth in the back, on the back line. It's good to see Tim Riemann there. I'm sure he's here to kind of give them some more stability, some more leadership. He's one of the guys with the most caps in this squad. I believe he has the most. He's played for the national team 66 times. I don't even think anyone's close to that. Steffen's got 29. Miles Robinson has 30. So Walker Zimmerman has 41, the center back. So he looks to be the closest one. And can we find maybe another striker who can create chances? I don't need necessarily a guy who's going to put the ball in the back of the net all the time, but I do need a guy who's going to create something. You have Jesus Ferreira. He got a lot of minutes at the World Cup. He's got 23 caps and 15 goals. And then maybe some of these up-and-coming younger guys. There are four guys five guys who have never played for the national team in the squad on the front line, and then one of the guys on the front line also played one time. So it'll be interesting to see that. I also do see Jack McGlynn is in this roster. He's very young though. He's actually only 21 years old. So maybe he's one of those guys that's gonna be a breakout player here for the Yanks. So. We'll see what gets done under Mr. Mauricio Pochettino. And then finally, we got a big weekend of NFL football coming up. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my picks. From the NFC, I picked the Eagles to get out of that conference. I'd love to see the Lions get there, but I do think with basically half of their starting lineup being out on defense, it's going to catch up to them, kind of rear its ugly head. Hopefully, Stafford can kind of maybe not turn the ball over as much, and that'll give him a better shot to get out of the NFC. But I do think it'll come down to them and Philly, and I think Philly's just got more of a talented squad. Though we did not see an explosive offense or a convincing performance from the Eagles in their opener, a win against the Packers. But we'll see what comes of this. And then I also think, unfortunately, we're going to have a repeat of the Chiefs getting to the Super Bowl again. So we're going to have a rematch of the Chiefs and Eagles, which would be a rematch of the 2023 Super Bowl, as the Chiefs will be looking to three-peat. And I think they will. But this weekend we have a big game. The Baltimore Ravens traveling to the Buffalo Bills. I think that's a game where it could be an instant classic and truly maybe one of the teams that potentially knock off the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I do think Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen has all the headlines, has all the making to be a mouth-watering matchup. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Bills to win this game. They're playing at home. But as I said, the biggest thing moving forward for the following week for whoever wins this game is, can they do it against Mahomes? And it's going to be at Arrowhead, which is also a very daunting task to win there. Last year, Baltimore and Buffalo had the Chiefs at home and couldn't get it done. So it's truly a scenario where I see both of those teams. They're not going to get past the Chiefs, but if they do, I just got to see it to believe it. I got to see one of those guys knock off the Chiefs, Mahomes not make a last minute play to get out of the game, get out of a tricky situation, a tight corner. I just think he's got more clutch genes right now than Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, but maybe those guys will prove me wrong. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure talking. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We got a lot of great content coming up from football and basketball. A lot of great interviews being lined up. Appreciate y'all coming in. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Please follow us on social media. All right, y'all. Peace.